Call the committee of the whole meeting for the Village of Cary for Tuesday, March 6, 2018. Order with roll call, please.
Betts.
Here.
Kostler.
Here.
Cavelli.
Here.
Kraus.
Here.
McAlpine.
Here.
Weinhammer.
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now move to the public comment section where the audience is able to address the committee of the whole. I have one person sign in. Patsy Fritz, did you want to address the village board or the village committee? Okay. Thank you. We'll go ahead and close public comment. Now the main agenda item here is discussing our solicitor ordinance again. So I'll turn that over to Chief.
Again, in your packet, you'll have a very quick analysis of the hours of that are allowed in various surrounding communities as it relates to solicitors, and the fact that the village can regulate them by statute. And I'll, just for historical reference, I put the 1960 ordinance that had a restriction between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. For solicitor hours. Otherwise, in the more contemporary codes, it generally is from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and it excludes generally holidays or Sundays. So what I guess I'd be, and as you can see in the ordinance that was attached to this as well, at section 5.28.090, our code does indicate you cannot solicit prior to 9 a.m. or after 8 p.m. on any weekday or Saturday or on any time on a Sunday or a state or national holiday. So I would be open to any direction that, in regards to discussion and the hours that solicitors should be allowed to solicit within the Village of Cary.
Thanks. Trustee Weinhammer brought this back, so did you want to give us any feedback or what you were looking for, please?
Sure. So I wanted to talk to the rest of the board about shortening the hours to maybe 5 p.m. in the wintertime. It gets dark soon. People are knocking on doors. They don't like to open the doors to people they don't know in the dark. So I wanted to discuss with the board about curving the hours back.
For just the winter months?
I would like all year.
So you're looking for a reduction from 9 to 8 to 9 to 5?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any comments from the board?
I would be happy with that too.
My only comment is that some of the people that get permits, I can understand during the winter months, maybe if it's darker out earlier, but some of the people that do get permits to solicit may want to go when people are home from work. That might be the idea of doing it. So I would not want to try and hamper someone's livelihood if that's a method that they're trying to garner business.
I guess they could always go ahead and do it on the weekend.
I understand. Saturdays, though, most people are busy too, running grocery store, kids events, things like
I'm
that.
just going from feedback from what I've heard from residents. So I'm looking out from their perspective.
No, I understand.
Trustee Costa, do you have anything on this?
I'm okay with 9 to 5. Yeah, I'm supportive of that.
Trustee Betts?
One thing I guess my question is, what is the detriment of that? I mean, what do we have solicitors that would complain if they can't solicit after 5 p.m.? And I'm asking open-ended questions, so I don't know the answer to that. But I sort of doubt that there would be a lot of pushback on this. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, last year we processed 161 solicitor permits, I'm sorry. And I don't know the answer to your question as it relates to a reduction or a limitation in regards to the hours of operation. I do know that in our solicitor ordinance, there's a philosophical statement that it relates to the village board not making the decision for residents. It's the residents that get to make the decision for themselves, and they can do that by posting a no solicitor sign on their primary entrance to
So that's kind of the philosophical framework that this solicitor's ordinance is, built upon.
One applicants last year. Are those people that are specifically knocking on the door trying to sell you something, or does that include like door hangers, somebody coming along and putting up a yard service door hanger?
You know what, I don't know what they're doing. I can tell you that there's an individual that does home remodeling. We'll have some financial planning individuals that'll get their permits, and then we'll generally get permits for, like changing your energy provider. Those are primarily, there's some here, here and there type of solicitors, but those are generally Comcast, the cable company, also has some people that are regular in terms of obtaining a permit. And remember that our permits are only good for a month, so they have to reapply. So that's why there's 161 different permits, although maybe not 161 different people.
Yeah, I've gotten quite a few of the things stuck in my doorknob and that, but maybe one or two people per year at the most that would actually knock on my door and want to sell me something.
But just so we're clear, though, do they need a solicitor's permit if they're just hanging a door tag? I don't know
I don't
if that's the
think so.
case.
Well, this is what the soliciting definition says, and it's the last line of it, and it says, or by the use of flyers or other types of literature left on the residential doors or
Okay.
porches. So it could be that they're doing it and they're not getting the permit, and it'd be very difficult to identify those people because they just leave a piece of paper, unless you catch them putting it there, versus someone that actually knocks on the door and does a person-to-person contact as it relates to soliciting.
Any other comments, trustee Cavalli?
I'm in favor of the reduced hours. Do the solicitors wear anything to identify themselves as solicitors?
No, we will start putting that together in terms of an ID card, but all we have is a permit that they carry with them.
I like the ordinance that you put forth
appreciate that.
a little while ago, and I've even been looking to take a lot of it from, my organization. And one of the things I found that I really liked, I think it was out of Naperville, where they require solicitors to wear a vest, and then they have like an ID card in there, and they had the solicitor put down like a $40 deposit so that they get the vest, and when they return the vest, they get their $40 back, which would help residents easily identify, okay, they've been permitted by that village, which may help reduce some of your calls. I'm looking into it. The vests are like $8, so.
And I'll tell you, some of the solicitors, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm
Some of the solicitors that do come in, particularly one energy provider, they wear vests already.
Okay.
So, I guess that's probably why
Yeah.
they're probably encountering that down in other municipalities now. I personally believe that a picture with a name on it, because a piece of paper with somebody's name on it requires another piece of identification that would identify or correlate that permit to that individual.
Yeah, and even if they got that far, because I can imagine some residents being hesitant about even opening the door, whereas if they saw somebody readily available, to Ellen's point, maybe then they'll decide if they want to open the door or not based on that, if they are interested. So I just thought that's the first time I had seen that. I thought it was kind of unique, so pass it
And
along.
again, I have to reinforce the fact that, when this ordinance was first constructed, it was specific in regards to letting the residents make that decision versus somebody else, so.
Trustee Betts?
I personally think that the resident should make their decision and get the solicitor sign on their door. So I don't see to change the time.
I agree with trustee Cavalli on the fact that, because it's very difficult for people to identify, because most of the solicitors, I have a no solicitor sign on my door. The chief brought me a new one because he didn't like the one I had before. But there's a lot of people that disregard those. And I've asked them for their identification or their permit, and they always say that their boss has it. And we've kind of talked about this before. Do we make all the solicitors that are walking through the town, each should have their own permit, right?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Everybody that goes door to door. So
Yeah,
they should
but
have
it's a
their own
piece of
permit.
paper, it's a certificate that basically has their name on it. It doesn't have a picture on it or anything like that. And we did purchase some equipment that we will start using as it relates to perhaps ID cards that we'll issue as well.
Okay, so they will be responsible for, and the idea with the vest, a bright colored vest or something would be easily identifiable, I would think. So 5 o'clock, the same, 5 o'clock, doesn't
I'm
matter.
fine with either.
5, so I guess we'll move the, can we put this on the consent agenda the next board meeting? To move
9 to
the
5.
9 to 5,
Okay.
thank you. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?